Hi everyone, welcome to the family table. My name is Cathy and I am so excited to let you know we are going into season 3. Believe it or not, it's been 3 years since we started doing the family table. What we're going to do this year to kind of liven things up, we're going to go around the world. We're going to have different recipes from different nationalities and other cultures and different things to kind of like spice up your life. It's been 3 years. We're going to do something different and we're going to go on board now that we're moving forward. So let me start season 3. Well, hello everyone. Welcome to the family table. Today we're going to Germany. So I try to do different countries and I decided Germany today because, you know, Oktoberfest and all that stuff. So I would like to start by getting my German potato salad ready. German potato salad is very nice because you can have it warm or you can have it cold. So you can have it out on your barbecues and whatever, and you don't have to worry because it has no mayonnaise in it. So what I have done in my pot, I have cut up my potatoes. Try to do it in like bite-sized pieces so you're not messing with the potatoes after. You can most certainly boil your potatoes and let it cool a little bit and cut them up, but that's an extra step. And I use the little potatoes. I really like the little potatoes. They usually come in a bag like this. It's about a 3-pound bag. And what I did is I had another bag, so I added a few more. So this is 3.5 pounds of potatoes cut up. So we're going to get this on the stove right now. It only takes about 10 minutes. You want your potatoes a little soft, like obviously they're hard, fork tender, and you'll see that the peels will be just pulling off the potato. Leave the peels on unless you're one of those people that, can't stand the peels, but that's where all your vitamins and minerals and everything else is in. So we're going to put this on the stove, and this is my handy dandy water spout. It's wonderful for potatoes, soups, so I'm not going from the sink to the stove. So you're going to cover the potatoes about 1 inch. And then you're going to salt it. Use the salt how you feel that you would like to use the salt. Some people do not want to use a lot of salt. Some people are salt hounds, but I'm just going to do that. What I'm going to do here is put my salt in, about a tablespoon, teaspoon, whatever you feel. So we're going to do that, and we're going to get these potatoes going. Let me make sure I got the right one. There we go, on high. Now it's going to come to a boil. We're going to reduce the heat a little bit and just let it keep bubbling, but not over bubbling. So while we're letting that cook, what we're going to do is get the onions ready. Now we're going to take an onion, it's 1 onion. You're going to chop it up. Just nice little dices because you don't want a big chunk of onion in your potato salad. So we're going to just get this going. I'm going to peel it, and I'm just going to put my little stuff on the side here because I do have a compost bin in the backyard, so I do throw all my peels and stuff in there. It's interesting. It's my first year doing it, so I'll give it a whirl. I literally, I got to go in the backyard and spin it. It's a portable one, so I can move it. Well, I can't move it anymore. It's just too heavy. So, wash the onion. And we're going to get this chopped up. So, now it calls for 1 pound of bacon. I have already cooked the bacon ahead of time. It was easier for me to do it that way instead of me just watching the bacon cook and you watching me watch the bacon cook. So, and my crew over here watching me watch the bacon cook. So you can watch the bacon cook. So, enough of the bacon. So I have pre-cooked 1 pound of bacon. And what I'm going to do with this onion is I am going to saute it in the bacon fat. Bacon fat's always good, right? So I think that's good. And we're going to chop that right up. So I am going to bring my pan over here so I can show. What I have is my little handy dandy bacon fat holder. Kind of cute, isn't it? And I'm just going to pour a little bit of bacon fat in my, all right, I think that's a little. When I was a kid, my mother and father had this old coffee cup on the back of the stove. And every time they made bacon, the fat went in there. And you know what? It was never refrigerated. It was never, and they just kept putting the bacon on top of the bacon. Now, I'm still here, and my eggs, they fried everything in it. Today, I don't think anybody would even think about doing it that way, but it was good, and I'm still around to talk about it. So now they got these cute little things that you can use, which I like it. So while I'm waiting for that to come up to temperature, we're going to cook it so it's just translucent, not brown, because we don't want to put brown onions in our salad either. So we're going to get this going, and we're going to let that cook. And in the meantime, I am going to chop up some parsley, get some parsley ready, because we're going to need some parsley too. So let me just get that going. So it's going to be about, we'll go with this, about a half a cup of parsley. And take the stems off. Again, I'm just going to push this off to the side because I will be throwing that in. Now, when you're chopping, please be careful for your fingers. Now, my thing is sliding. Best way to chop is having your fingers bent down. That way when you get to it, you don't, cut off your finger. Now I have had quite a few mishaps in my day, so we will be very careful with that. Okay. I would say that's a half a cup, and I will just put that off to the side. I can hear my onions starting to cook. Okay. Now, while that is cooking, and I've already have this all chopped up, I will add the mustard later. We're going to put vinegar in. It's just regular white vinegar. I have a cup of vinegar. Almost a cup of vinegar. Let me just put a little bit more in there. A cup of vinegar and a cup of water. That's ready to go in. And we also have 2 tablespoons of sugar. And then this is stone ground mustard. It's a German mustard. And if you're going to make German potato salad, use a German mustard. It's very, mustard's tangy anyways, but this really just gives it a nice flavor. So when I make that, I would use that mustard, not just regular yellow mustard. I mean, if you're going to make German potato salad, you may as well try to make it as German as possible, right? Now, like I said, this is a perfect time to do this. It's Oktoberfest around the corner. Everybody's celebrating it. You can go to a lot of different restaurants. In some places in town, they're celebrating Oktoberfest. It's fun, get some beer and some brats. I just want to keep my eye on my onions. So it's not going to take long for them to get to the translucent stage. So everything's ready to go. So the mustard, it will actually be, let me just double check, 3 tablespoons. That's going to be yummy. So anyways, so we got 3 tablespoons of mustard. I'll do that there. I'm going to put this in. Now once that is set, I'm going to throw everything in, and it's going to have to simmer for a while because we want to actually reduce it because we're actually making a salad dressing. So we're going to reduce it. The potatoes should be done. We want to keep them warm. When the potatoes are done, I'm going to drain it. I'm going to put it back in the pot because we want to keep it warm. And when you put your potatoes back in the pot it's cooked in, it is actually helps dry up the water and it will keep them warm. So we're going to let that go. I'm going to explain a few other things why we're doing this. So, Smells like bacon. So what I did was I already cut up the bacon, like I said, and I have it in here. I'm keeping it warm. So I cut it all up. Again, you cut it up into little, pretty well bite-sized pieces. So I got it in a bag. It's warm. I'm going to just leave it there. What I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to put it back in my warming tray because we want to keep it warm. So I got the bacon ready, the parsley ready, the mustard's there, everything's all ready. Now we just have to mix it. Like I said, once the onions are translucent, just another minute. It's almost there. Then we're going to let it stay. So to go with German potato salad, we're going to go with schnitzels. So I got my schnitzel pot already over here, and as soon as I get that going, I'm going to show you what we're going to do. Probably the hardest thing about the schnitzels is actually pounding them. Now I start off with thin, boneless pork chops. Now, if you go with Wiener schnitzels, it's veal, and you can do veal. Veal's pricey. And I'll tell you that the pork chops is just as good. But veal, you got that little extra. But I start off with a very thin, boneless pork chops. I trim off some of the fat, and then I'm going to pound them to a 1/4 inch. So I'm just going to keep checking my onions while we're talking to make sure we're all set. Okay. So I got the onions. They're translucent. Look at that bacon fat. So the onions are all set. Very fragrant. Just before they start to turn brown. So what we're going to do is water. Sugar. Vinegar. Ooh, and the mustard. So let's see if I can get it out without making a mess. 1, 2, 3. Let me give this a stir. Ooh. Make my oven a mess. Now, we're going to let this go until it reduces. And that should take, about 10 minutes. Yeah, about 10 minutes. And then we're going to add everything to it. Okay. So let's stop pounding. How's that? Why that is doing its thing over there. So you take plastic wrap, and we're going to take the plastic wrap, and I'm going to cover this cutting board. I go wide, and everybody knows plastic wrap, right? If you don't hold on to it, it's going to stick together, and then you're fighting with it. And what you do at the end is you end up throwing it away because you about done had it with it. So we're going to go like this. I'm going to move it a little bit. And I am going to take, let me just trim this a little bit first. Yeah, not all of them has to be trimmed, but we're going to trim some of them. This one. I'm going to trim whatever ones I have to trim. This one. I mean, you don't have to trim the fat. It really is up to you. Sometimes it's just a little too much. So, like this one is. Okay, keep my eyes on that. So this recipe calls for 8. Now in my family, 8 just isn't enough, because when we do it, my husband's mother, my mother-in-law, used to do it all the time for everybody. She would call us all over, and it was easy for me and my husband because she lived next door, so we knew, we could smell it. So it definitely was no 8. So plastic wrap, love it. Okay, put 2, cover it. And there's different pounders. This is mine. I can take it off and do a flat one. If I wanted to do the other direction, I could do the flat part. And that's okay too, as soon as I can unscrew it. And then we do this way, right? So either way, you can do whatever side you want to do. So we'll try this one. So. Now, this is great if you're mad at somebody. So I saved the platter so I can just do this. So it's about, as you say, about a quarter of an inch. I'm just going to put this right here. I'm just going to stir, make sure my dressing is doing its thing over here. Okay. Oh. Put my spoon on my spoon rest. Now we'll just keep pounding. So like I said, this recipe is going to call for 8, but you can double it, triple it, whatever you want. It's really, once you have this and you know how many pork or veal that you're going to use, you can always add more flour, more egg, because that's what you're going to dip them in after. So you just add. You know what you need, and you know you need to cover them. So it's not something that is actually written in stone. It's however many you're going to use. Oh, I'm going to make sure that one's a little flatter. How nice and thin they are. So now that we got this all set, the meat's pounded, I'm just going to move this out of the way. And then what we have to do now is bread it so we can fry it. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start turning on my oil. Now my oil, I've already cooked some schnitzels in it, and you can use the same oil. What I usually do is I use a sifter, and I dump the oil into a measuring cup just to get all the crumbs out, because you're using flour and breadcrumbs, and it does end up in your pan, and you don't want too much of that obviously in your pan. So you do have to sift through it. Now this flour, this oil, I can let it cool, put it back in the bottle, and use it again for another set of. Actually, it doesn't even have to be schnitzels. If I want to fry fish, or I want to fry anything that's a dessert item. But yes, you can use your oil over again. That's looking good. The potatoes, come on, you got to come up to some boiling here. So now here we go. What I do have here is my handy dandy 3 Dredging Station. Look at that. Oh, backwards. Yeah, there we go. So we're going to do flour first, then we're going to do egg, then we're going to do breadcrumbs. Let me tell you about breadcrumbs. Everybody can make their own breadcrumbs, unless you're a family that really goes through all your bread. Now, in my house right now, since it's me and my husband, we do not go through all the bread. So just before the bread gets moldy, I take it, I lay it on the counter, and I dry it out, and then I put it in my food processor, and I have breadcrumbs. Now, I make my own plain, obviously. We eat wheat bread a lot, so I have wheat breadcrumbs. I even done it with sweet bread, so I have sweet breadcrumbs. And if you want the Italian, just add your Italian seasoning, and there you go. So I'm putting 4 eggs in a bowl, as you can see. And what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to whip it up, because you need to have your eggs all whipped, because you don't want all the egg yolk or just the egg whites all clumped on. I can smell that vinegar. Oh, that's good. So that goes right in the middle. Now, if you don't have one of these, really it is no big deal. Just have 3 separate dipping stations, and you'll be fine. So I am going to now, what I'm going to do with my veal, I'm going to put it over here, get this out of my way. I am going to grab a plate, excuse me. I'm going to grab the plate so I can put my breaded ones on. I'm going to take my pork, I mean not my veal, my pork, and I am going to salt. I'm going to do the first 4 so I can flip them. So let me just get this one out of the way. Okay. Okay, let me just move these. When you're doing this dipping stuff, you know what, if you do it by hand, which I do occasionally, your hands get pretty well crudded up, really. So have yourself a little wet towel near you, because you're going to be wiping off your hands quite often. So let me again just check my dressing here. My potatoes are just coming up to a boil, so that'll take about 10 minutes. The dressing is almost done. Another couple of minutes there. So in the meantime, I am going to take care of some of these actually pork cutlets right now. So flour first. Make sure it's in the flour. Turn it over. Make sure you cover it. Then from the flour, and you are going to make a mess. There's no getting away from it. 2 cups of flour, 4 eggs, 2 cups of breadcrumbs. Look at that. Da-da-dum. Rice, banged it. There we go. Just make sure you do cover all of it. So that way when you fry it up, you got everything, all your meat covered. And like I said, the hardest part, as you could see, was really just pounding it. And that really isn't so hard, especially if you have some anger issues and you want to get rid of some of that. Use it as therapy. There we go. Okay, one mess done. Now, we're going to come on this side, and we are now going to fry these up. Oh, just going to be waiting on those potatoes. Oil, I put it like on medium high. Do not crowd your schnitzels. Just make sure you have enough oil, and you may have to, depending on how many you're frying, you may have to add more oil to it. But I like to keep my eye on the time, let it cook. paper towels to drain, and then you're ready pretty much to eat. Now, when my mother-in-law did it, I have to tell you this. She would be at her stove cooking it and putting it on the platter, and then we would walk by and say, hey, wow, almost done. And then when she would look, there would be a piece gone. Well, you keep doing that, you're not going to have any for dinner. So she threatened us one time, keep it up, you're just going to have sides. So I've known my mother-in-law since I was 6, so there's a lot of stories. So every time we make schnitzels, we always think of her. Obviously, she's passed, and used to think about stealing the schnitzels when she was making them. So my dressing is all set over here. Now we're just waiting on the potatoes for the actual German potato salad. Just going to put that down for a minute. And right now I'm going to add my parsley to my dressing. The parsley right in there. And the bacon that I already cut up is going to go right in there also. So now we have the dressing, just waiting for the potatoes. Oh, look at that. I'm going to show you. See? Now that's going to go right over the potatoes. Oh, look at that. And yes, it makes a mess. Your stove will get all splattered with grease, and it is what it is. But you're going to enjoy the dinner. And if you're one of the lucky ones that don't have to clean up, it'd be even better. I've never been that lucky. Hi, so we're back. I just wanted to get everything fried up and put off to the side, so now they're just sitting there. Our potatoes are done for our German potato salad. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take them and dump them. And like I said earlier, we're going to put them back in the pan. The pan helps dry them out and just keeps them warm. And we're just going to let them sit there for a minute or a couple of minutes. How's that? So here's the trick. Trying not to get all fogged up when you're doing it. So they're fork tender. Ooh. Make sure they're drained. And then I'm just going to put them right back in the pan. There we go. And we're just going to let it sit there for a couple of minutes. Matter of fact, I'm just going to get them out of the way on the stove right here. Dressing is done. I'll show you that. But in the meantime, you cannot have a German dinner without German chocolate cake. So instead of doing a cake, what I did was I did cupcakes. Now the cupcakes, honestly, I just used a box mix, Devil Foods. You can use any box mix you want. It's really the frosting or the topping or the filling, whatever you want to put to it. So you're going to need to have the sweetened coconut flakes, pecans, and what you're going to do is you're going to toast them. I've already toasted this whole bag and I resealed it because when I use pecans, I usually use them toasted. And you're going to need a can of sweetened condensed milk. In addition to that, you are also going to need butter, sugar, 6 egg yolks. Now the thing with this, and vanilla extract, and I always recommend to use pure vanilla extract. The thing is, to do this, I would have to be stirring this for a good 20 minutes. And, well, I figured I'd do that ahead of time. So now I kept it in my handy dandy warming drawer. this is all set and done. This is my German chocolate filling for my German chocolate cupcakes. So what I'm going to do with this is, I just want to stir this up a little bit. I kept it warm because it's easier to put it on, or to, if you're doing the cake. And I don't know, I was going to put it on with a little scooper here and just scoop it right on. And then just, it doesn't have to be pretty as long as it's tasty. So this takes time. Do it ahead of time. Put them in the cooler. This frosting then does tend to get, I would say it would get pretty solid. So when you're ready to use it, either microwave it for a little bit. Just warm it up a little bit. Don't put it on the stove. Probably just do it in your microwave. So I got these cute little cupcakes. Figured it was easier. So there we go. German chocolate cupcakes. Rather than the whole cake, right? Whoop. Going out over the place here. So what I'm going to do with this, probably will just push it down a little bit with a spoon. And then we'll just put it on a plate. Now you would all put this right in the middle of a cake, and then you would just actually just put it on top of the cake and just frost it the best you can. My pecans are falling. But it just does take a while to actually make this topping. It is it's time consuming. So, but it can be done. So I suggest, and you can make the chocolate cake obviously from scratch. There's just, absolutely you can do that. But the reason I would suggest to do it this way, since you're spending all the time with the topping, then go ahead and spend the time on the topping and not so much on the cake. Because, chocolate cake is pretty much chocolate cake. So, I mean, you can do it from scratch or not. And you don't have to use the devil's food. You can use fudge cake and regular chocolate cake. It doesn't have to be the devil's food cake. I like the devil's food cake. So you can put it on any way you want. You can even cut a hole in your cupcake and stick it right in there if you would like. So there we go. There's some German chocolate. I'm just going to pick this stuff out and put this right here. That's a nice little dessert. And I'll put my little thing back in my warming tray so it stays there. Now I'll pack that up. Obviously I made enough for a whole cake, but what I'll do is I will pack that up and I will freeze it in little containers. So when I make cupcakes again, rather than making a big batch and standing over my stove stirring for 20 minutes, I already have it ready. So now let's get to our German potato salad. We've did the potatoes, as you can see. They're pretty dry because they stayed in the pan nice and warm. We have this nice dressing that we're going to put on. It's got, you can take the bacon and mix it up after, but it's easy just to put it in with the dressing because now you're mixing up everything all together. You can actually smell the mustard. Now we put a cup of vinegar in there, but you can really smell that German mustard. So let's just toss this around. Oh my God, can you just smell that? I know you can't smell that, but everybody here can smell it. I love the mustard. I like mustard. A brat with onions. So what I do is I take my brat and I boil it first in onion and beer. And then I put it on the grill just to get a grill marks on it. Put it in a nice bun with mustard. Yum! So now we're going to take it and we're going to put it right in this bowl so everybody can see it. Look at that. Will you look at that? Get all that good stuff out of there. So that is warm German potato salad. So if you give me another minute, I will set this counter up so you can see my family table. Welcome back, everyone. This is my German family table. Now I'm going to remind everybody, I'm Portuguese, my husband's French, but this is the food we like. So as you can see, I've got some pretzels with my German mustard. I got my schnitzels with the lemon, my German potato salad, and my chocolate German cupcakes. I think that's a great table. I do want to say my husband does like the lemon, but you can also use pork gravy. And that's not very authentic, but you can use pork gravy and it's very good. We've also had it with mashed potatoes, and of course the gravy goes very well with mashed potatoes. So, happy Oktoberfest, and I hope everyone tries this. And what do you think about this on your family table?